Can we rest as we are, without need for explanation, without need for being, or without need for doing? Because all of these needing to know, trying to be, or doing is all emanating in the mind, and is all emanated from a place of limitedness and from a place of duality. So can we rest as we actually are without anybody trying to do this? So the reason I say that is what I wanted to do was record a video on this whole idea of really just being who we actually are, without trying, without being, without doing, without explanation, without the conceptual ideas of what it means to be spiritual, or the constraints of language that we have to act or sound a certain way, or even look a certain way. And this place of being who we actually are, or resting, and I appreciate fully that the words are dualistic that I'm using, is this expanse of consciousness in which everything occurs, and as such is a very empowering place to live. It doesn't come from a place of limitedness. Everything is taken care of, everything is occurring as and how it needs to be occurring. And yet the beautiful thing is in this place, in this expansiveness, in this place of efficiency, there is no one really doing this, which allows this energy that's contracted up as an individual or a seeker or somebody trying to get this, to just dissipate and to just expand out, so we can recognize ourselves for what we actually are. And there's really no trying or doing or being here. There's not even an acceptance in the limited sense of the word of, oh, I am going to accept this, and as such, if I accept this, then everything will be okay. There isn't anything even like that here, because nothing is needed to be accepted, done, or understood to be as we actually are. And if we were to just stop and even really just think about these things, we would realize that our thinking about this, our stopping about this, our accepting about this, or our doing about this is so redundant. And as such, there's nothing that can be done to wake ourselves up from this dream. Because how does a dream wake up to itself? Instead, we can kind of realize. We can realize, who we are by recognizing ourselves as this character in a play, but recognizing that this character is just being, doing, acting, sounding, moving the way it needs to move, without any sense of doership, and that it's all happening in this play of consciousness, whether consciousness appears as a screen upon which all these images are occurring, or whether this is occurring within consciousness. Again, the need for explanations, the need to understand, the need to be or do are seen as completely redundant, because they're all emanating from this place of mind. And as such, if we could let go, if that can actually be done, if we can accept, again, if that can be done from a place of personhood, which it can't, but if it could, we would see that there is some validity to our seeking. And yet seeking is just occurring, it's just something that's happening in this play of life. And that seeing through, that realization that this is just a dream, and nobody really wakes from the dream, because there's really just this wakefulness that's always here. There's just this aliveness, this beingness, this consciousness, this awareness that's always here. And that even this idea of trying to accept it is completely redundant, because no acceptance is needed to be who you actually are. If we could allow all of these ideas, these thoughts, these concepts, this being and this doing to just collapse, we can just be in this place, in which there is really just this one without another witnessing it or being it or doing it, and really the need to understand this in any way, shape or form could just really just be let go of. And then there's just this place which has always been here, which always is, and which always will be. And this place is home. This is who we are. This is what we struggle to find, not realizing it's just this cause and effect, which is really just this huge invitation, from ourselves, to know ourselves, to experience ourselves. And this play is just this reality experiencing itself through this play for its own amusement, for its own reasoning, for its own logic, for its own wisdom. And that there really is no need to know. And yet we can know when we accept, I suppose, or rest as we actually are, which is the universe entire. And there's a deep sense of relaxation as these ideas can be put down, and the emotional charge that seeking brings with it, or the amount of energy that we've invested, is just it just literally just dissipates, and we see ourselves as a universe entire. And it's effortless. It doesn't require any doing. It's empowering because we are no longer, and we never have been, living from this place of limitedness, regardless of whatever our story told us. And yet the character can continue in the dream, doing what it needs to do, functioning as it needs to function. If anything, there's more efficiency in the functioning of this character, because the energetic contraction of an individual trying to get something is gone, and the character is experienced much more expansively, much more openly, much more alively, and much more beautifully, and so much more lovingly, because everything is this. There is really one without another. And this idea of compassion arises, this idea of gratitude arises, this idea of love arises. And these are all different aspects of our character, and there isn't seeking them but seeing. And that seeing is expansive because every moment, realization is constantly happening. This seeing is constantly happening. So then there's this idea of a constant letting go or a constant acceptance. And these are just ideas which aren't held on to, we don't have any vested interest in these ideas. So as such, there's just this expansiveness that just keeps expanding with no one trying or being or doing. It is completely effortless. And this effortless place, this place of non-doership, this place of not knowing, is the security that so many of us look for when we're accumulating wealth, or looking for that perfect relationship, or seeking this thing. And the reason it is this place of security is because it's home. It's where we always are, where we always have been. An expanse which is just experiencing itself in whichever way we wish to, whichever explanation we need of it, whichever religion we need to take, or whichever philosophical approach or conceptual approach, or however we choose to live this illusion, whether it is in the accumulation of wealth or relationships, or whatever the expression is absolutely perfect. And the expression is perfect when there is really no one to realize it, when there is really just no idea or no sense of anything or anyone. And life is lived effortlessly, without discussion, debate, trying to analyze or anything. Life simply is. And any attempt, as you'll have seen from these videos, to encapsulate this ultimately leads to collapse. So ultimately all seeking or knowing or doing or being will ultimately fail. And in that failure there is rest, because a failure occurs to something which isn't real, which is this character, which is this idea of individuality, with this idea of personhood or doing or being. And that's not who you are. As much as it may feel real that you're this character and you're living this story and this life is happening to you, or you're going through life and you're trying to navigate life however you do, when this play is seen through, we see the eternal nature of our existence and of what we actually are. And that is when, as I so love saying, that's when the drop of water realizes its inherent nature, its inherent being, its actuality is the universe entire.